Hello, welcome to the Healthy Alternatives podcast. I am Dr. Christine Sauer with DocChristine.com. Today's show is a recording of my radio show of the same name. Enjoy! Hello, good afternoon. This is Dr. Christine Sauer, your host of the show Healthy Alternatives, here on 97.5 CIOE FM with live stream on communityradio.ca every Thursday at 12 noon Atlantic Standard Time. Thanks for tuning in today. In this show, I will talk, mostly with guests, about all aspects of health, healthcare and wellness, from conventional to alternative and everything in between. My mission for this radio show is to help change people's lives for the better by informing them about different options to get and stay healthy and well so they can choose for themselves which option might work in their case. And if you feel you are stuck in a dark place, I want to tell you, don't give up. There is a light at the end of the tunnel for you too. Today, I'm very pleased to be with Dr. Melissa Kalt. Melissa is a soul strategist, physician, holistic wellness practitioner, coach, author, speaker, and a mother of 5. Now that's amazing, Melissa. I'm so happy you are joining me today.
I am so happy to be with you.
Yeah, thanks so much for being on the show. Now, it's interesting how you transitioned from being a physician to now helping high-achieving women to let go of fear and shame and gain clarity on their life's purpose and create loving work and connections. That is amazing work. Tell me a little bit about how you came to do that, why you left conventional medicine and began to explore options outside of it.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. You know, it was an amazing journey. I grew up really an overachiever, and I thought being a doctor was going to be the sort of ultimate best way that I could help people, that I could serve. And so I did the doctor thing, and I got board certified in 3 specialties, and I really enjoyed it. But the part of me that really wanted to serve, that really wanted to solve people's problems, was really frustrated by problems that didn't seem to have answers in traditional or conventional medicine. I saw woman after woman who was exhausted, you know, so tired that she really couldn't function well in her day. She wasn't enjoying her family. She wasn't enjoying her work. She had no time for herself. And the standard medical evaluation, you know, was to kind of check thyroid and vitamin D and make sure she's not anemic and doesn't sound like she has sleep apnea, and then kind of shrug your shoulders and say, I don't know, sleep more. And that was really dissatisfying to patients, and it was really dissatisfying to me.
Yes. Because
it wasn't my goal just to move them out the door. It was my goal to actually help them be well. And as I had more children and as my own level of overwhelm increased with my my relationship with my then husband, you know, taking care of my kids and all the other things, I found that I became one of those women. I was exhausted. I was overwhelmed. I was stressed. I was operating at about 95% of my maximum capacity all the time. And I just didn't know that I could do that I could keep up that pace much longer. And so I started looking for other answers. I really asked myself, you know, what if life doesn't have to be this way? What if there's something else? And so it was then that started my journey that led to certifications in other modalities, energetic healing modalities, or color puncture, which is similar to acupuncture but no needles. The transformative coaching, doing trauma therapy to unhook, you know, imprints and false beliefs that I had about the way things needed to be. And as I discovered that if it's not normal, it doesn't have to be normal. We don't have to just accept that as a doctor and mother of 5 that I just have to be exhausted. and overwhelmed all the time. As I found for myself that wasn't the case, it was bursting out of me to share it with other people.
Wow.
And so, December of 2017, actually, when the impulse came to give notice, the 3-month notice at my medical job, to leave, to really pursue sharing this work with the world, the people who are looking for those solutions, it was really easy for me to say yes.
No, that's a wonderful story. And to be honest, I have 2 children, and that was a lot of work together with my ex-husband's family practice and my own dermatology allergy. And I don't know how you do it with 5 kids. Oh my God, you must have felt so overwhelmed. And I felt totally overwhelmed with what I did. And I had to break down. I'm glad you didn't before I learned to look after myself too, and then eventually help others do the same.
Yeah, and I didn't realize I didn't realize completely how much I had said no to myself in terms of basic self-care needs. Because, if my kids were hungry in the middle of the night, I got up to feed them.
Of course.
And of course I would do that. I'm not saying otherwise, but foregoing my own sleep in the medical practice, there was no time to eat or drink enough water or even go to the bathroom. It just running from, I think you've had the same experience, seeing patients very quickly because that's what the system requires.
If I was lucky, I had time for yogurt during the day, and then at some point I would be so hungry that I would stuff myself with junk.
Yeah. Well, I remember those days of coming home so starving, there was no quantity of food that would make me feel satisfied, much less full. Because, it was constant running for 12, 14 hours sometimes in a day before getting to eat anything substantial.
And
really
nobody cooking for you, body. So there would be ready-made food, fast food, going out to restaurants when you had time for that.
Oh, yeah, or protein bars. And there were a lot of times my meals were protein bars or carrots and dip or something that could be in my mouth fast.
Right. Sometimes I ate while I was seeing patients, which is not a good idea.
No, it was really, I didn't realize how disconnected I was.
So how did the transition work for you? How did you actually make that transition? Because of course it's a big jump, not just work-wise, but also financially. And if I understand it right, you might even be a single mother now.
Yeah, so I am a single mother now. My youngest 4 children live with me.
Wow.
The oldest is off at college, and for that reason, I don't receive any child support. So for that reason, it really was a huge leap of faith. But by the point in time, I started my journey, my exploration probably 7 years ago. So by the point in time that I had the impulse, which I really believe came directly from my soul, that this was the ask to leave the medical career and take this forward. I really was happy to say yes and to trust that things were going to work out okay. So I gave my 3 months notice. I finished there at the end of March last year. And I've been spending much of this past year in education, not in school, but, in trying different ways of reaching people, whether that's through writing. I've published some ebooks and a lot of articles, whether that's reaching people through video. And that's been the biggest learning curve, is really learning the the business and the marketing
Yeah.
to get in front of the people that I know are looking for what I have.
And it is amazing that we all have to go through that. And I had the same experience when you start full of enthusiasm and you know that you can help them. But there's so many people that need us and need to learn that there is more out there than just go to the family doctor, take the pills, and get sent home and be just as tired as before, as you said.
Right.
And I'm so happy that...
Right, or takes...
Mm-hmm.
Or takes so many medications, you know. I would see a woman, I had one patient come in to get to know me who was 21, who was on 7 different medications. You know, this one for heartburn, this one for anxiety, this for this, that for that, whatever.
Yeah. I
that's
find that
not good for
often
anyone.
people with fatigue, after they rolled out what you said, boom, they get an antidepressant. And it usually doesn't help because it doesn't address the root cause. And I'm very fortunate to know you, so we both address root causes from a little different aspect. But there's so many approaches, there's so many needs that people have that can be addressed, and that it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to invest in yourself. You're worth it. That's what I say, that's what you say, and I'm happy to be connected with you that way.
Oh, absolutely. I think that once people, I think part of what makes me so passionate about what I do is not just ending the struggle, but I think that most people feel that they're here to do something more than what they're doing. I'm not talking about adding more to their plate and saying yes when they really want to say no, but feeling a calling to contribute in a particular way. And I think a lot of women in particular are really trapped in this place of, I'm so exhausted, I'm so stressed, I'm so overwhelmed, I can't possibly even consider that because I can't add anything else to my plate. And yet I think we're all here to share information. You know, you mentioned that so many people in the world need this, and I think we touch people in different ways. There are people that resonate with one person more than another, not because either is better, but just because they're kind of speaking their language, their experience more closely mirrors their, you know, that person's experience. And I think it would be so amazing to have everyone clear out all of the stuff that's in the way so they can do exactly what they're here to do.
Wow, yeah, that is a very, very beautiful thought. And we'll leave our listeners with that for the first half of the broadcast. And after the short intermezzo, we'll go on after the break for more about Soul Strategies with Dr. Melissa Kalt. Thank you so much, and I'll see you after the break. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to Healthy Alternatives here on 97.5 CIOE FM or on the web at communityradio.ca. I'm your host, Dr. Christine Sauer, and today I'm happy to talk with Dr. Melissa Kalt, a family physician and a 3 times board-certified physician that gave up her practice to help others with their soul issues. Melissa, I'm so happy to have you back.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit more about what you're doing now and how you are helping people transform themselves.
One of the things that I'm doing is helping people create a really solid foundation. I find that many people are operating in a place of their mind. They are caught in the mental spin of, well, I should do this, but I could do that. And it gets really hard to get any traction. And I remember feeling so confused, feeling that calling, but feeling so confused about next steps because I was just in my head. And so connecting to the body and the spirit are a really important piece. As I mentioned in my own life, I had been really very disconnected from the needs of my body, not eating, not sleeping enough. And so one of the things I really help people do is that. But when they can hold the bigger vision of what they're doing this for, I can help people find clarity about their next steps, which is going to help them in the short term by eliminating the fatigue and the overwhelm and the time constraints and the things that they're struggling with in their present day. But then over time, to help them gain clarity around their life's purpose, their why, their reason for being here on earth, and helping them to remove the obstacles and the blocks that are in their way. So often we put ourselves in our own way. How many people have lost weight only to sabotage themselves and gain it all back? Or, how many people have experienced sabotaging their chances for a promotion or things at work? A lot of times we're held back by beliefs that we hold that were imprinted, at a very young age and that simply aren't true. So helping people to get out of their own way really frees them up to live an inspired, passion-filled, vibrant life, which I think is the dream of the people who are drowning in overwhelm and exhaustion.
I think you're completely right. Dream. I know it was my dream at some point, and I was so frustrated at some point that I fell into a deep depression, which then was labeled as mental illness instead of helping me find the purpose. So you are doing very important work.
I really love the feeling of connecting people with their purpose, because we all have one. And it's not to get up and run all day like a crazy woman and drop into bed exhausted at the end of the day and do it again tomorrow.
I couldn't agree more. We have a long task list and maybe get a tenth of all the list done, and then the next day the list gets even longer. And then we look at the list and eventually throw it away and forget why we made the list in the first place. And it doesn't get us anywhere. Like a hamster in a wheel. We're racing and getting nowhere.
It makes us feel badly about ourselves.
Yeah.
It makes us feel like we're not good enough, like we're not getting enough done, or like we can't relax until the to-do list is done. But the to-do list is never going to be done.
No.
And I get so lit up by helping people see that they don't need to live that way, that they can be calm and peaceful, and they can enjoy, time with the kids. I remember when I was so overwhelmed, one of my kids would get invited to a birthday party, and, I would say to my child, like, oh, that's so wonderful. And I'd be thinking in the back of my head, like, shoot, now I've got to go to the store and buy a gift and wrap it and drop this child off and pick him up 2 hours later. This is like a lot of extra work. And things like that just they're not work to me anymore. I have the spaciousness to handle, we had 3 snow or cold days last week, and my kids were off school. And I can handle that. I can breathe into that. And I really want that for the people who are looking for that in their own life. And so I always think, in terms of Soul Strategist, the soul's already there. The soul's got a plan. We've spent our whole lives not listening to it.
That's a good one. I like that. We spent our whole life not listening to our soul. That's important.
Yes. Yes, our minds tell us we can't do those things. We're not smart enough. We're not good enough. It's scary to be visible. Whatever it is, our mind has a lot of reasons why we can't listen.
And it's so true.
We're not particularly connected to our bodies.
And I don't know about you, but I was working for a while with dying patients as a volunteer. And no one told me I wished I worked more. I wished I worked harder. Not one.
No.
If they had regrets, it's that they didn't love enough, that they didn't connect enough with other people, that they didn't take risks to do what they really wanted to do.
Absolutely. Tomorrow I'm doing a free online class, and so anyone who's listening is welcome to come. But one of the
So that class will be over. How do they connect with it afterwards? Because I know you have a replay.
Yes, I do have a replay, and I'll shoot you the link, or people can email me directly, and I'll send it to them today.
Excellent.
If they want to get in live.
Want to share your website or email, so just we don't forget about it?
Oh, sure. Emailing me directly is great, and that's Melissa at Kalt, Kalt, MD.com.
Yeah, well, that is wonderful. And go ahead and email Melissa, and she'll email you back. And so what are you teaching in your class?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're looking at chronic overwhelm. Not everyone experiences acute overwhelm. When schedule gets busy, they have a big project deadline or something. We're looking at chronic overwhelm. If you're feeling that way most of the time, if not all of the time, there is one secret that I've found to really turn that around. And it's a way to reframe it that makes everything change. Mm-hmm. And one of the keys that we're talking about that feeds into what you were mentioning a minute ago is I talk about this rule of 92, which I created a few years ago to help me with my own fears. And what I do is when I get afraid of something, I think about what I will think about this when I'm 92. Will I look back and say, oh my gosh, she should have never shot that Facebook Live at 46. She looks like an idiot. Or will I instead look back and say, gosh, it's too bad that she was too afraid of being visible to take that risk. And the 92-year-old self's always got this pretty well covered. So that's one of the things that's really helped me move towards my soul's impulses and clarity is in eliminating that fear.
I like that rule. I really do. I always think about in 100 years, will anybody worry about it? And then I laugh at myself and say, nobody's looking at it anyway.
Right. Well, and there's so many things that people worry about, telling someone that they love them for the first time, or, reaching out to a family member that they're disconnected from, or doing things in their business, taking risks or whatnot. At 92, I don't think that I'm going to care about any of that other than, being disappointed that I didn't take the risk.
Exactly.
I didn't make myself vulnerable and whatever it was.
Yeah, that is a wonderful way, the 92 rule. I have to share that. That is wonderful. I really like that. And any other tips that you could give our listeners, except for imagining yourself at 92, which is a nicer image than on your deathbed, and looking back on your life and thinking, was it really worth doing everything for other people instead of doing what I wanted to do?
Yeah, I think the biggest game-changing secret, and I'll give you the big one. We're going to talk about it a lot in this class, but it's that overwhelm is equal to lack of clarity. It's lack of alignment with the soul's purpose.
Yeah.
When we're aligned with our soul's purpose, there's no overwhelm. We know our next steps. Things come easily and gracefully. And that doesn't mean that everything always goes our way or that there are no challenges or no learning opportunities. But
of course, and we all struggle sometimes. And
right.
And many people say, like Brandon Burchard, that I really like, he says, honor your struggles. And I like that. You have to honor them. Yes, we are struggling today because of this and that, but I'll honor that. That's okay. I'll live through it. I'll deal with it. And then I come out a stronger person. But as what you say is so true. When you worry all day, you're not living your life.
Right.
And that's a sad situation.
It's caused by being out of alignment with the soul and the soul's purpose, the life's purpose. And when you make that shift, everything else changes.
And I think...
And we'll talk more about how to do that. But
yes, and I recommend everybody that's interested in getting help with making that shift to contact you and get a replay of that class, because I know the show will air after the class has run, but I'm sure you will do more of them because you will have great success with that, because people need it. People need to realign with their soul and stop worrying their days away and do something that they are excited about, like you're saying. And that's a nice thought to leave us for the end of today's show. Thank you so much for being on the show, Melissa. And please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions, thoughts, comments, or suggestion. Or if you'd like to contact Melissa and forgot her email, my email here is christine@communityradio.ca, or you can contact me through my website, docchristine.com. And I'm always grateful for any feedback. I also want to extend a special thank you to today's producer, Jim Francis. Thanks, Jim. You're the best. And you might not know this, but this is a volunteer-run non-profit radio station. And we even have an art gallery. Thank you all for listening to Healthy Alternatives. I'm your host, Dr. Christine Sauer. Tune in next Thursday at noon on 97.5 CIOE FM Community Radio with live stream on communityradio.ca for the next episode. Goodbye and have a great day.